Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is TamezTech and welcome to a brand new video. Today we are going to be starting our coverage on our second day of the Go Battle weekend, and this day we went all out. We were trying all sorts of old meta picks, new spice picks, and honestly even some picks that were kind of flying under the radar for a lot of people. So I hope you guys enjoy this next week worth of coverage. We have a lot of really cool teams to get through, and let's go ahead and get it started with the first team. We have Murkrow lead, Klefki safe swap, and non-Shadow Venu in the back. Now, if I had a Shadow Venu, I probably would run that. Unfortunately, I don't really have a Shadow Venu to use here. But yeah, honestly, this team, we went 4-1 with it. We could have gone 5-0, but we got a little bit RPS in the last match there. But honestly, like, this team did so tremendously good. Let's check it out real quick. And yeah, honestly, like, I would seriously recommend Klefki. I don't think it's a bad Pokemon at all. It has the same typing as Tinkaton, but unfortunately just a lot less bulk there. But we see an amazing lead in the first match. Obviously, we do not want to see that on our Klefki or even on our Venu, but if you guys know me, I am extremely dumb. I completely forgot to check the moveset on my Klefki. I for some reason had it powered up, but I didn't fix any of the moves for it. So my Klefki's running Tackle and Draining Kiss single moved, and I had no idea. And of course, this is really, really bad. I mean, this is probably one of the worst movesets you could probably run with this thing. So thankfully, though, my opponent tries to snipe our Klefki instead of just staying in with Togekiss, and that gives us a little bit of play back into this match. We can kind of get rid of this Marowak here. We throw the Drill Peck, it won't knock out. My opponent for some reason baits, which is honestly amazing for us. We get the full Peck farm down, and I know that if Togekiss comes in, I have to throw right away because they're about 1 or 2 off of the move. I can't exactly remember where their counts are, but if I can get shields down, maybe my Venusaur can do something here. I will shield this move. Just again, my Venusaur is really scared of this Pokemon, and it would be pretty tragic if we let a Flyer go by, but I mean, we saw Mud Slapper, we saw Flyer in the save swap. What could be in the back? Another Flyer. Absolutely dreadful. Thankfully, though, we actually get the 0-turn swap, and my opponent gets the 1-turn swap, which means that we can actually throw this Sludge before our opponent throws the Drill Peck, so we can actually get some damage into this thing. And don't forget, we still have a little bit of energy with Klefki. Honestly, this game is already over. My opponent can severely overfarm and just cap tie us to the Draining Kiss. But who the hell knows Tackle Draining Kiss counts? I don't think anyone on Earth does. So we actually we get to the move before Firo realizes they have to throw energy, and we're able to take that first game. All right, on to the second game here. Honestly, not a great lead. Caesar can just shield and farm all the way down here if you don't have an amazing Murkrow. Thankfully for us, though, this Caesar is actually throwing energy here, which just gives Murkrow more play. If you are the Caesar in this matchup, just know that you can just shield and farm all the way down. But yeah, since they didn't sneak that Bullet Punch there, as you can see, I have a pretty high rank Murkrow, rank 41 in the Great League, so definitely not bad. We can come in with Klefki here, and we should just completely wall the energy here. This Trailblaze plus the 2 Bullet Punches, I mean 3 Bullet Punches, are gonna do an insane amount of damage regardless. But we see a Zoomerl come in, so I'm just gonna throw the Play Rough here just to get it into Sludge or Frenzy Plant range, and probably look into pivoting into my Venusaur here. I did kind of read this opponent's team. Caesar plus double Water was a very common team lineup lately. So I kind of just bank it all on my Venusaur, up energy. My opponent brings in for Alligator. Thankfully, they don't bait, which means that at this point, I should be able to outpace the Azumarill to the Frenzy Plant here. We are non-Shadow, but this Frenzy Plant should do more than enough damage to get the knockout here. And yeah, very well played there. Again, team reading is very, very important in these days where you see like a billion teams, right? All right, we see a Murkrow mirror lead in the next match, and honestly, not amazing, especially when they are Shadow. They probably have a higher attack stat than you do, so you will probably lose charge stat priority. So I make a catch on Klefki, and oh my god, that does not look resistive. Thankfully, though, for some strange reason, my opponent does let me throw this foul play before them. And I know this won't necessarily knock out, but Murkrow is so squishy. I mean, look at these Astonishes, dude. Those look like freaking counters into this Murkrow. So pretty decent damage done there. We should have snuck a peck here, but we get completely denied, which means that if we want to get this farm down, then we're gonna have to take a peck, and that puts us into the yellow. So definitely not ideal here. My opponent brings in a Florges, so I'm gonna farm up to the back-to-back. I could cap tie them here, but I think I'm just gonna save my shield and my Murkrow with that drill peck and pivot out into my Venusaur. Venusaur is going to wall Florges' moveset completely. And once again, another team read. I was looking back at the VOD here, and I could hear myself saying, like, I feel like it's going to be a ground type in the back. It's going to be a ground type in the back. And lo and behold, yeah, everybody's running ground types. So we just bank a little bit of energy on Venusaur. Throw with the Gastro. I don't really want to be taking all these Mud Slaps here because a Chilling Water could get close to knocking out afterwards, but just landing this Sludge Bomb, burning the clock, we have the Drill Peck banked on the Murkrow, and this game is going to be completely over. I feel like my opponent threw instantly there so that if we did let it go with the Murkrow, they could just permanently debuff our last Pokemon, which is a very cringe but very based play with Florges. All right, we see Blastoise in the lead in the next match, and that is definitely not ideal. So we're going to do 2 pecks and then swap out. What this does is it guarantees that we don't take that second rollout, but we do get the 2 pecks worth of energy on our Murkrow. Blastoise is going to keep farming up, trying to get some damage into Klefki. Not a lot of people had answers to this Pokemon for some reason. And yeah, they actually no-shield the Play Rough. This means that I should be able to farm down in 3 Astonishes here, which theoretically should give me a full farm down. So my opponent does pivot out into their Scizor, but we are able to barely make it to a foul play here. And this should get a shield from them. I mean, this would be pretty close to knocking out. This is a little bit unfortunate though. The Scizor did get quite a bit of energy, and I just don't know how I could ever get rid of it with my Venusaur. So if I can get some pecks in here, that would be ideal. Of course, claiming the second shield with these drill pecks here. And I'm just going to bring in Venusaur here and start shielding. Hopefully Sludge Bomb is enough to knock out here, but this game is looking a little bit dire. Scizor is just such a problem for my backline, but thankfully Sludge does knock out. We see Malamar in the back, and this is looking pretty tragic already. I don't really know how we get back into this game. Malamar does throw instantly. I should have thrown the Sludge Bomb there. I committed to the Frenzy. My opponent pivots out though. They pivot into Blastoise to try and get some rollout damage for some reason. I thought they would just get to another move regardless, but since they gave me that energy lead, that means that we actually get the peck down before they do, and we're able to take that game. So very amazing stuff there. On to the second team here though, and you guys might be judging me a little bit here. We are running Steelix lead, Florges safe swap, and we are running Golisopod in the back. So we see a pretty favorable lead in the first match. My opponent swaps into Ferret, we swap into Florges, and it is all looking pretty decent for us. We are able to get the debuff onto them before they throw the Trailblaze, so that is a -1 Trailblaze. They are back into neutral damage because they did throw that powering move, but this second Chilling Water should allow us to get a full farm down at this point. Maybe I should have gone for the Trailblaze myself there, but I feel like they probably could have sucker punched us down. So at this point, we come out with the least amount of HP left, but we do come out with a move. So we can permanently, well, not permanently, but we can debuff this Corviknight before we bring our Steelix in here and force them out. My opponent, of course, they do have a ground type in the back, and we have a perfect answer to that. We have Golisopod. Honestly, this was kind of an RPS game, not gonna lie. Steelix is just so strong into Corviknight. And Ferret, of course, does not have a favorable matchup into Florges, and nonetheless, Gastrodon into Golisopod is an absolute freaking nightmare, especially when you are still having 2 shields in play here. So we're just going to overfarm quite a bit here, make sure that we're not stuck into that Corviknight matchup too long. I don't want them to be able to throw an air cutter into my Golisopod, because I certainly need those shields for these body slams, but my opponent does let that go. They do not pivot out into their Corviknight trying to make a combo play, and we are able to get the full knockout with that Aqua Jet. All right, amazing lead in the next match. Charjabug has absolutely no plans to Steelix. My opponent brings in Diggersby. We bring in Golisopod, and I don't know, man. This is not quite over yet. Fury Cutter Golisopod does have a way better matchup into Diggersby than Shadow Claw, of course. But it looks like 2 Fire Punches plus the quick attacks will be enough to knock us out if my opponent decides to shield. So it looks like I will have to make the first shielding decision of the game. If I do let this go, my opponent does have a chance to flip switch. And it's not like Florges has a terrible matchup into Charjabug, but Steelix has such a good matchup into Charjabug that I don't really need my shields for that matchup, right? So hopefully whatever is in the back isn't completely terrible for our team. I will overfarm as much as I can with Golisopod, throw on 10 Fury Cutters so that I don't take that third move there, and in the back it is Annihilate. So honestly, this is looking very, very well. I'm not going to throw the Chilling Water because at this point I really just need the fast move pressure. My opponent realizes that these Fairy Winds are adding up substantially, and yeah, that is going to be a GG for them. Honestly, very favorable alignment with this team. I cannot believe we have gotten so lucky. Yet another amazing lead. I know Blastoise can knock out with double Hydro Cannon here, which isn't amazing, but it is still a little bit tragic. My opponent brings in Shadow Talonflame, and you could have made an argument that I should have pivoted into maybe Golisopod or Florges or something like that. But I was a little bit slow on the swap. I didn't really know what to do against the Shadow Talon, and I figured maybe I can just get rid of this thing here. Even if Blastoise comes back in, we can put in some work into it. My opponent brings in a Dusknoir though, so this is not quite over yet. Sorry about that. This is kind of a tricky matchup for us. We are able to claim a shield with that crunch. Unfortunately, my opponent does respect it. I was really hoping they don't, but I'm not playing like a Steelix user. Just always bait. Always bait. We are able to bring in Florges here, and we're always going to be shielding the first because we do have a debuffing move. My opponent instantly pivots out into their Blastoise, but Hydro Cannon is not really going to knock out. And they don't really commit to the Skull Bash here. So I can easily just throw on good timing, throw my Trailblaze. This should do pretty decent damage into this Blastoise. I'm going to bring in Steelix just to get a few Thunderfangs in. And at this point, I mean, that Dusknoir did no shield that Chilling Water. So I'm thinking, man, maybe I just Fury Cutter everything down with the pod. And look at these Fury Cutters into Dusknoir. Honestly, these are not doing no damage. This is doing pretty decent damage. So let's see if we can get the farm down here. And we do. What an amazing game. Honestly, pretty close, but Golisopod able to clean that up. All right, on to the next lead. We see Dusclops in the lead, and honestly, this isn't an amazing lead. This Pokemon has such quick pacing that I feel like 3 Shadow Punches are gonna come close, if not just completely knock out Steelix here. Thankfully though, they do throw the first Shadow Punch instantly, which means that we can throw the Crunch on pretty good timing. My opponent no shield stat, but they actually do the little trick where if you swap out as soon as the charge move hits your Pokemon, your opponent will get this visual bug where the health is not represented correctly on the screen. So yeah, very interesting play. Of course, I mean, most of the time it's not really intentional, but when it does happen, it can be a pretty good advantage because I have no idea what that Dusclops HP is at. I don't know if I can knock them out with a Chilling Water. I don't know if I need like a whole Aqua Jet, or if I can just fast move them down later. So here comes the Dusclops, and very clearly, I mean, they are in the red, but I still totally need a charge move to get rid of this thing. So I'm just going to bring in Steelix here, kind of use it as a damage sponge. Hopefully I can farm this thing all the way down and have energy for the backline after this. But again, Dusclops is so quick, barely getting that farm down there. They were just getting their next Hydro, but I mean, their Shadow Punch there. But yeah, my opponent brings in a Gastrodon. So I go for the Psychic Fangs just to kind of force my opponent into pivoting and maybe making a misplay. But the one who is going to make a misplay is going to be myself. I bring in Golisopod, I force the pivot, and for some reason, I just don't bring in Florges. I do not know why I did this. I could have just brought in Florges, permanently debuffed the Gastro again, and just guarantee this win. But I stay in with the pod. And now I have no shields left, so I don't know. Yeah, I just don't think we can win this game. It's going to be a very, very close game, but unfortunately, this Gastro will be able to outpace to the back-to-back slams because they got that farm down on the Steelix. My win con was to make a catch here, but I was just so pissed off at myself that I wasn't really thinking about my win con anymore. Maybe if I got DRE here, we could have won this game, but let's be completely honest, I didn't really deserve that win. Very, very tragic there. Very obvious win con for me, but unfortunately, I did not respect it. But anyways, on to the last team of the video. Very interesting team there. We got Guslord in the lead, Cresselia in the save swap, and Shadow Talon as our sweeper. We see a pretty terrible lead in the first match, and my opponent counter swaps a Jellicent into our Cresselia save swap. This is looking pretty dire already. For some reason, though, my opponent shields the first Grass Knot, which is honestly very good for me. And I guess they miscount. Maybe they don't know the new confusion counts for Cresselia. So we get to a second Grass Knot. We're able to confusion them down before they get another move off. And my opponent's like, you know what? Screw this. I've misplayed enough. I don't want to play this game anymore. So completely understandable there. But yeah, Cresselia putting in some work. All right, amazing lead in the next match. We see Ufisk, but my opponent brings in Firo here, and honestly, I don't really have a great answer to this, so I think I'm just going to stay in, but I feel like I really have to play for switch. I definitely do not want my Talonflame onto that Ufisk, of course, so if I can stay in here with Guslord and maybe get a nasty farm down, have a little bit of energy for the backline, that would be nice. I shield the first drill peck, I no shield the second. This is going to be a really close farm down, but we are able to get it. My opponent brings back in the Ufisk, and I am hoping that I can get to this double Dragon Claw. If I do, this is going to guarantee put them into Flame Charge or Grass Knot range, so I really just need to land a move into this Ufisk to get rid of it. Thankfully, my Guslord is a decently high rank, 201, not absolutely perfect, but it's still decent. We bring in Cresselia, my opponent brings in Chestnut to counter swap, and that is absolutely over. We just completely hard countered that trainer. All right, in the next match, we see Crispy in the lead, an absolute amazing streamer. I will leave his link down below. This guy is an absolute Chad. Unfortunately for him, a very, very good lead for us in the first match. I was really hoping he didn't think I was sniping him like other streamers have thought in the past. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But anyways, pretty decent lead for us. We get rid of the Greninja completely. My opponent brings in Charjabug though, and yikes, I do not have an answer to this Pokemon. The ideal move would have been to instantly bring in Talonflame and just get some Incinerate damage into this thing. But unfortunately, I don't think I can beat the backline. And you guys will see after I land this Incinerate. My opponent brings in Feraligatr, and yeah, this is so over. Feraligatr have super effective Shadow Claws into our Cresselia. 2 Hydros should come pretty close to knocking out, but if anything, it just guarantees them a farm down. So this is looking extremely tragic here. Maybe if I shielded my Guslord into that Charjabug, we would have had a lot more play. Like I said, if I pivoted out into my Talonflame and just bait out that Gator, we probably could have won this game. But unfortunately for me, this Gator just has so much residual energy. And remember, Charjabug does have a discharge banked. So at this point, Crispy just has to get both shields down here. And I am crossing my fingers that Crispy lags a turn because I have the back-to-back fly. So if Crispy lags a turn here and I can throw the double flame charge, I should be able to farm down that Gator. But of course, no one-turn lag for Crispy. Honestly, very well played from them. Completely hard countered in the lead and yet still able to bring that back. So GG's to Crispy there. Very well played. On to the next battle here. We have Wigglytuff into our Guslord. Holy moly, that is absolutely tragic. We bring in Cresselia instantly. I'm hoping it is the double Mud Slap, team, but no, another extremely hard counter Pokemon for us. They bring in Dusclops. This is a very bad Pokemon for us to see. Honestly, it's not a completely terrible lead. Grass Knot plus Confusion is definitely putting in some work into this Pokemon, but Shadow Punch is just so quick. This guy's going to be able to severely outpace us here. And this Grass Knot should come pretty close to knocking out. I do have a Moonblast, so I should throw that, but they actually Cap-tie us, so very smart by them. I didn't really know the pacing on Cresselia, but I'm just going to instantly pivot my Gustlord here. For some reason, my opponent throws energy here, which is definitely a misplay from them. They really don't have to throw energy, but I make a misplay myself. Dragon Claw actually does less than Brutal Swing here. It is double resisted versus single resisted, but I was kind of just reading chat, not really paying too much attention there. A little bit of a dumb play by me. But thankfully, I did save my Cresselia in the back. It does have literally 1 HP point left. It would not even survive a shielded charge move. But thankfully, what this is going to allow me to do is clear a debuff from this Wigglytuff. So I'm just going to be shielding these Icy Wind. They Swift later, and for some reason, my opponent has a Lantern in the back, and they just didn't bring it instantly. So I guess people just like toying with other people and playing dumb. That is totally fine by me. I will get content out of it, if anything. But yeah, I don't know. People are just really weird. Regardless, we go into the next game. We see Caesar in the lead. And while we do wall the moveset from Caesar, the charge moves at least, the bullet punches do a lot of damage. We are able to try and catch on Talon, and my opponent does not react fast enough. They allow an entire Incinerate to sneak through. The problem is this Caesar has a lot of energy. This Caesar has almost 2 Night Slashes banked. So I can't really be shielding moves here. I'm going to bring in Cresselia, and hopefully I can get a knockout with a Grass Knot here, but this is looking a little bit dire, man. I don't really want to give up my switch advantage here. My opponent is going to throw the Play Rough, which is going to do a decent amount of damage. They bring in the Caesar here, and realistically, I should have just pivoted out into my Gustlord to tank this energy, but I figure that my Cresselia energy might be a little valuable in the back. I'm just a little bit scared of a ground type or a second water type. I mean, we already saw Caesar, we already saw Azumarill, and no, it is Cradily in the back. And yeah, unfortunately, I really should have pivoted into that Caesar and saved my shield there. But I just don't think we have a win con. My opponent's win con at this point is just to get to the close to the back-to-back Rock Tombs and just win the game. For some reason, though, my opponent brings in Azumarill. I do not want to throw my energy here. It's literally useless. It's more useful for me if they throw energy, so I can get a farm down with Cresselia, and I can just have 2 moves ready for that dilly. So my last win con is to get a bait with the Grass Knot and knock out with a Moonblast. So I'm hoping my opponent shields the first move, because if they don't, we are completely cooked here. So we throw the Grass Knot, they shield it, they do not have the energy they need because they didn't stay in the Gustlord matchup. We get to the Moonblast, and we're going to be able to take this game by the thinnest of margins, but nonetheless, a win. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Honestly, I had a lot of fun in day 2 of the Go Battle League. The Go Battle League weekend, that is, of course. Honestly, it was extremely fun. We were running a lot of spice picks, a lot of fun Pokemon. I know Steelix isn't necessarily a spice pick, but I had a lot of fun with Klefki. I had a lot of fun with Cresselia even. Shadow Talonflame is an absolute menace. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know in the comments down below what you want to see next. I will be streaming on Twitch today, so if you guys want to come by and say hi, feel free to do so as well. And I will see you guys on Monday. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.